Strength training is for everybody, but today we're specifically going to go over strength training exercises that would be beneficial for runners. Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm the personal trainer and running coach at Kathletics. Here at Kathletics, we're all about meeting you where you are in your fitness so you can approach hybrid training in a sustainable way. Now, I really had to break it down to decide what were my top 5 exercises for runners because often you hear you only need to be doing lower body exercises for runners, but really I take the approach of we really should be addressing the whole body because the whole body affects how you run. It affects your posture, it affects your stride, it affects your entire running economy. So I really tried to nail down which 5 exercises I recommend as a personal trainer and running coach. Now, if you want me to take it a bit further, I do have a blog on my website that goes over the 10 exercises I would encourage you to do. But today we're going to be breaking it down into these top 5. So number 1 is going to be the hex bar deadlift. Now, I really like the hex bar deadlift because it addresses both the squat and the deadlift within the deadlift because you're going to be a little bit higher up than you would for a regular deadlift. You're not going to be hinging down quite as far, and so you're going to get a little bit more quad engagement just with how the weight distribution is within the hex bar, as well as the placement of where your hands are on the hex bar. Now, I understand that not everybody has access to a hex bar, whether you're working out at home or working out at the gym, but something you could do instead would be to break that into 2 separate exercises, which would be the conventional deadlift and then a goblet squat or a barbell back squat. But then again, that means that we're breaking it even further out. Instead of doing these top 5 exercises, now we're kind of breaking it into 6. But details. We're going to focus on that hex bar deadlift as being a great resource for strength, for developing power, both which are important when you are running. Number 2, I encourage you to do some sort of step up variation. Now, if you're just getting into fitness, probably doing your standard step up with dumbbells at your sides is likely going to be a good option for you. Now, if you're somebody who has dabbled a bit into strength training or you're more well versed as a runner, you may think about doing crossover step ups. Now, crossover step ups are really helpful for getting into your glute a little bit more than you would a regular step up. So, within the regular step up, you are going to be including your quads and your glutes. Within a crossover step up, you're going to get a little bit more stretch within that glute so you can get further range of motion for the step up. And now this is going to help with your running by translating more glute strength into more power on the trails and on the pavement. So to take a little break from lower body strength, I do want us to make sure that we're getting upper body both in the pressing motion as well as the pulling motion. So number 3 is a row. Now, I would prefer that you do these with either a barbell or 2 dumbbells or doing it in a single arm version. Whichever way that you decide to do it, we want to make sure we're getting some sort of horizontal pull for a row. Now, I like to have these in runners' programs because this is allowing you to strengthen your back, which is going to then translate over into the trails or the pavement where we're keeping an upright posture and opening up the chest because we have a strong base as your back. Moving on to number 4, this is going to get us further into that pressing motion that I discussed. So I would prefer that you do a chest press. Not because we should be neglecting the shoulders, let's not get that going. I would encourage you to do some sort of vertical press. But again, if we're picking the top 5, I would suggest doing some sort of chest press because more people have the mobility in their chest than they would overhead. So again, one isn't necessarily better than the other. I encourage you to do both. But if we're really having to choose one pressing exercise, I would do some sort of chest press. I recommend dumbbells because they do require more shoulder stability than, say, a barbell would. But if you have more access to a barbell, by all means, barbell bench press is great. But consider doing the dumbbell bench press. And if you don't have either of those pieces of equipment, doing something like a push up or push up variations where you're starting at an incline and then slowly over time increasing or progressing to a floor push up, I think that is a great place to start. And lastly, number 5 is going to be a calf raise. So dumbbell calf raises are very, very important in my opinion, especially as a runner, because most of your power from your stride is needing to come from your calves. And it's often neglected because you're thinking, okay, well, if I'm doing hills in my runs or if I'm running regularly, I am getting calf strength, which, okay, I can see how you may think that it isn't hurting it. It isn't making it weaker, but if we can build the calf strength, it is going to translate so much better over into the trails and the pavement than it would be if you weren't doing them at all. This is also going to help with your ankle stability and foot strength, which again are both important for your runs. Now, I understand I kind of dabbled in, hey, do these 5, but also consider these other ones. But if you really had to break it down, if you only had one session per week where you could do strength and you just needed a place to start, I would consider hex bar deadlift, step up variation, row, chest press, and calf raises. Those are going to give you a full body approach and at least get you what you need from a strength perspective in your whole body instead of doing nothing at all. If you'd like to take a glance at what a broader range of exercises could be as a runner and to boost your performance, your endurance, your strength, all of the things, I recommend checking out my recent blog post that I'll go ahead and link down below in the description. That just gives you a little bit more variety as well as addresses all areas including your core. Now, if you noticed of those 5 exercises, I didn't mention any rotation or anti-rotation exercises because I was really getting down to that nitty-gritty 5. But if you would like to add a little bit of that or gain more knowledge around that, I do recommend clicking that link in the description below. On the other hand, if you're looking to completely take the guesswork out of your training and have it done for you in a sustainable way, be sure to click the link in the description for our Sustainably Fit program. This is going to be the best way to work with me and get that hybrid training that you've been looking for. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, be sure to like, subscribe, and then we'll see you in the next one.